Looking for financial support that strives to honor your community's rich heritage and cultural practices? Introducing RBC Origins. Our Indigenous banking specialists provide resources and advice that can help transform your ideas into tangible progress and community prosperity. At RBC, we're committed to driving your goals forward. Learn more at rbc.com/indigenous. RBC, ideas happen here.
I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Monday, August 11th. We begin in northern Manitoba, where chiefs from 4 First Nations have expressed their disapproval over the way provincial and federal governments have responded to wildfires this summer. And speaking early Friday, the chiefs say more investments in wildfire prevention are needed. Sav Jonesa reports.
Experts confirm that investing in prevention saves money.
Wildfires in the Island Lake region in northern Manitoba have severely impacted 4 First Nations in the area. Multiple evacuations have left their residents displaced to various communities throughout the province. Island Lake chiefs say lack of provincial and federal investments in wildfire prevention strategies are to blame.
The Auditor General found that Indigenous Service Canada spent 3.5 times more on response and recovery than on preparedness. That is $646 million on reacting to disaster versus $182 million preparing for them.
Garden Hill, Wasagamacq, St. Teresa Point, and Red Sucker Lake Anishinaabe Nations are located about 500 kilometers northeast of Winnipeg. Anishinaabe Okamawan represents them. Their Grand Chief Alex McDougall says that roughly 80% of Indigenous communities are located near remote, fire-prone regions. Despite that, he says many are without the basic resources and infrastructure needed to respond to the fires.
Public Safety Canada acknowledges that $1 invested in prevention saves $6 in response costs. Yet Ottawa refuses to follow its own math.
Red Sucker Lake Chief Samuel Knott says his community has no way to escape a wildfire about 30 kilometers away. He says government investments in fire suppression teams and infrastructure projects like all-season roads are necessary for their safety. He says his community isn't underprepared, they are under-prioritized.
No firefighting aircrafts or crews have been deployed as we are completely abandoned. Our people are suffering from severe smoke inhalation, children, elders, people with asthma. We have no asthma medication available for our most vulnerable community members.
A 252-kilometer all-season road from St. Teresa Point to Barons River would cost $512 million. The chiefs say that project is one of more than 100 wildfire mitigation projects deemed eligible for funding across the country. The road would act as a wildfire escape route while also reducing the 4 First Nations' reliance on winter roads and airlifts year-round.
2 of the 3 of our winter road bridges were burnt. That is our lifeline to our community.
Garden Hill Chief Dino Flett says his First Nation has spent almost $3 million of their own money evacuating their community twice this year.
It's already August. We need to replace these bridges as soon as possible.
We are burning because budgets refuse to bend.
The chiefs call on the government to invest in wildfire prevention, fund eligible infrastructure projects, and build an all-season road. They hope Canada will develop a national Indigenous fire strategy so this doesn't happen again next year. Sav Jonesa, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
To southern Manitoba now, where members of Broken Head Ojiway Nation voted on a proposed partnership with Alberta mining company Silica. With more, C.R. Bettens.
The rain didn't stop protesters from gathering outside on Friday morning. Organizer and land defender Taylor Galvin says it's the water they're standing for.
This water, our groundwater, our aquifers are at stake.
The Broken Head Ojiway Nation in southern Manitoba is holding a referendum on a proposed partnership with Silica. In July, the Alberta-based mining company offered the nation a 5% profit share in a proposed silica mining operation in southeastern Manitoba. The deal would generate an estimated $20 million annually once at full capacity.
Say no to silica!
But some band members are concerned about the environmental impact it could have. They're encouraging Broken Head members to consider those impacts at the ballot box.
I have little cousins. I have slightly older cousins that are all around our age.
21-year-old Hayden Gilmore is a youth from Broken Head. He's concerned about the proposed project's environmental impact.
For the next 40 years that we're all going to be alive, hopefully, these projects are going to be impacting us. They're going to be impacting our waters. They're going to be impacting our land.
In February 2024, Manitoba rejected a proposed geosilica mining project due to environmental concerns, including water contamination. On Friday, geosilica said they plan to submit a new environmental license application within the next week.
We never got to ask a lot of questions.
Galvin says community meetings with geosilica have left her and others feeling unheard.
We never got to really voice our concerns around it. And when we did, it was met with, sidetracked answers and greenwashing, it felt like, even red washing, using, Indigenous knowledge and Indigenous people to try to get ahead as a box to check off.
The referendum takes place during the community's treaty days. Online voting has been open since August 1st. Band member Brenda Greyeyes is concerned about what she alleges is a faulty online voting system.
My daughter lives in BC. She's attending the Indigenous Teachers Program in UBC. She received the information. QRL codes do not work. They lead to broken links. People cannot vote. The process was so convoluted. She phoned me and she said, "Mom, I had to go through so many steps, and then finally it didn't even work."
Members of the Our Land in the Sand campaign and land defenders from Camp Morningstar also came to show their support. The camp near Hollow Water First Nation in Manitoba was established in February 2019 to oppose geosilica mining projects. Heavenly Martins, another Broken Head youth, says she's standing up for the land and future generations.
Everything you do, everything you say, how it will affect the next 7 generations. And so it's important to really keep that in mind.
APTN reached out to Broken Head Ojiway Nation and geosilica for comment. On Thursday, Broken Head issued a statement saying the referendum is being held to allow all eligible community members to have their say and determine the direction collectively, and that the vote was scheduled at a time when most members are available and gathered in community to ensure maximum participation and transparency. In a Friday email, geosilica President Carla Devlin said they take community concerns seriously and are committed to open and respectful dialogue. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Broken Head Ojiway Nation.
And finally, the Penelakut tribe in British Columbia released some interim findings last week related to the former Cooper Island Indian Industrial School, an event the federal government opted not to attend despite being invited. Located northwest of Victoria, as many as 171 children died at Cooper Island, 16 of them from suspicious causes. Drawing on archival research and ground-based investigations, the tribe says 51 cases of missing children are now under investigation. They include either students whose records cannot be located in the archive or whose final location or status cannot be determined. Penelakut's land-based team has surveyed more than 3,500 square meters using ground-penetrating technology. So far, it's identified 342 unmarked graves in a cemetery. It says more forensic work is needed. The Cooper Island School opened in 1889. By the time it closed in 1975, over 2,100 students from nearly 75 communities had been forced to attend. Overcrowded conditions meant roughly a third of them grew deathly ill within its first 20 years of operation. Described as Alcatraz by survivors, a la the infamous U.S. prison, the school was set on fire in 1895 when student holidays were canceled. And that's your APTN News Brief for Monday, August 11th. I'm Rick Harp.